Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the Sunday feast gathering today. My name is Shraddha Devi Dasi, and I will be doing the Krishna Katha, and we will start with the mangalacharan prayers. So if Charanamaya Prabhu, you can show us the mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanshalakhaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Next slide please. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we got a new clicker. That's good. I'm happy. So thank you so much, Charanamaya Prabhu, for all the help behind the scenes since morning. I've been bugging you with the slide, and thank you so much for the broadcast also. And thank you so much, dear devotees, for coming here to the Sunday feast. Again, also on the acknowledgements, I'd also like to say my special thanks and heartfelt gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, who translated the wonderful Vedic literature into English. And without that translation, although I am from UP, I would not have understood even a single piece of that. And of course, the amazing purports of Srila Prabhupada. Also like to thank my spiritual master, Vaisheshika Das Prabhu, who is here who is up there in India for Kartik, for guiding me throughout my spiritual journey. And also my gratitude to Shivas Pandit Prabhu, who is my Siksha Guru, who taught me how to read the scriptures in a scrutinizing manner. I'd also like to thank Rakesh Prabhu, my husband, sitting there with the camera. And for bearing with me, because when you do this austerity of giving a lecture for Sunday feast, there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made at the home front. And so I'm really grateful to you for that. I'd also like to thank the scheduling team for giving me this opportunity to participate in Krishna Katha in the auspicious month of Kartik. So thank you for that. So, Charanamaya Prabhu, how does it go? Okay, I'm not pressing it hard enough. So this is the month of Kartik, and we know that next week it's going to come to an end. Will be in what is known as the Bhishma-panchaka. So I just thought that I'll just glorify Bhishma Dev and talk a little bit about Bhishma-panchaka and what we do there. So the Bhishma-panchaka dates this year. For those of you who are not aware, I'm sure most of you already know that, but just for repeating that. It's 5 days. The Bhishma-panchaka is the word panchak is panch, 5. It's 5 days from Uttan Ekadashi to the Rasa Purnima, which is the last day also of the month of Kartik, and also the last day for the Chaturmasya. So this year it starts on Tuesday, November 12th, and then it goes on till Saturday, November 16th. Friday, sorry, math is wrong. Okay. Oh, there's something there? Okay. All right, so I stand corrected. It goes up till Friday because of the tithi and all those complicated things that go behind that. So my question here is that, we talk about Bhishma, right? And Bhishma Dev, Bhishma Pitame, as he's known as popularly. So why was he given the name Bhishma? Anybody would like to offer that? Kanka Mataji, can somebody give her a microphone? And we need microphones, all of them. Thank you, Suryakan Prabhu.
He took a vow of celibacy when he was very young because he wanted to his father to be able to marry this certain woman. And I'm not good with names, so I can't remember all their names. But he then they named him Bhishma because it was a horrible vow.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Kanka Mataji, and I'm just so privileged to have you here. So, yes, and he was given the name Bhish because Bhish means fierce or extreme, and as you said, Kanka Mataji said horrible. So it was indeed a very horrible and a very strong and a strict vow that he took on that. And as the story goes that, okay, I won't tell the story yet because I have some questions coming up for the audience here. So what was the original name of Bhishma? Koladev Pran Prabhu, microphone for him, please.
His original name was, or birth given name was Devavrata.
Devavrata, thank you so much. And we have a godbrother called Devavrata. Yes, that was the correct for 500 points. Then the next question is, who was his mother, Devavrata's mother? Okay, Gunjan Mataji, I saw. Okay, Shamlangi. Okay.
Ganga.
Ganga, all right. So she was. Were you also going to say the same thing? Okay, good. So both of you get 500 points. Okay. So, Charunamai Prabhu, am I doing this in the wrong direction? Am I? Yeah, I gave the answer. Yeah. Am I supposed to point it on the computer or here? Anywhere? It's universal? Okay. Yeah, so answer I gave you. Who was the father? Father you said was Shantanu, right? Why is it going the opposite direction? Yeah, please. I thought my clicker karma is over with this new one, but somehow. Yeah, so Kanka Mataji, you were asking that. We'll just wait. We'll do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Next slide. Yeah, this is my old karma coming back. Okay, so who was Devavrata's father? And I think I gave you the answer. Shantanu, right? Maharaj Shantanu was there. And who was his stepmother? Shamlangi Mataji. That will answer your question. Yeah? Yeah, Satyavati. Yeah. So, right? And Queen Satyavati was his stepmother. And who were Bhishma Dev's stepbrothers? Children of Satyavati.
I think it's Vichitra Virya and Kartaviryajan. Chitrangat, yes.
Chitrangada, right?
Right,
Chitrangada and Vichitra Virya. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just pause here, the question answer round. There are more coming. But the story here goes is that once Maharaj Shantanu, and this is from the olden millennium, not this one. So in those days, interplanetary travel was allowed. So they used to go to heavenly planets from this planet. So he had gone there to the heavenly planet, and there was an assembly. Everybody was there. And Goddess Ganga saw Shantanu, and both of them were attracted to each other. And they were kind of like stuck like this. And they forgot to, so that was the breach of etiquette. So Ganga was punished to go into the lower planetary system, which is ours, into the mortal planetary system. So she was here, and then they get married, but one of the things that Ganga had said was that you are not going to ask me any questions, right? How many of us do that to our spouses? And how many of them say yes? So anyway, she had said that you're not going to ask me any questions, and things they were living happily till they had the first child, and then Ganges, goddess Ganges, took that child and put it into the water, drowned the child. And Shantanu was very, flabbergasted by this, and he was just perturbed, but he couldn't ask her any questions. So this way it went on till, X number of children, I think 6 or 7, I forget. And then he couldn't contain herself, and he said, stop. And then she said, hey, you broke your promise. So promising is very important. Promise is a vrata. If you make a promise, we keep it. If you can't keep a promise, then don't make it. That's the rule. Okay? So then she leaves and she goes away and takes the child with her. And the child grows up in the heavenly planets, and that child was Devavrata. Right? Soon to be known as, Bhishma Dev, and later on grandfather Bhishma. So she leaves and she goes, and then the Shantanu is pretty unhappy that the wife has left and all that. But 16 years later, the son comes back, as a very smart, strong, and very, good at archery and, fantastic lad. He comes back, and then they are living together, and then everybody knows that Devavrata is going to become the emperor after Shantanu, and everything is all set, but there's nothing that can be set in the material world, right? It changes. So one day, Shantanu sees a very beautiful lady, and he wants to marry her. And so he approaches, and the father of the girl, and the father says that, on my daughter's palm, the future says that she will be a queen, like a reigning, the mother of a soon-to-be reigning king. So, but it can't happen because you already have a son. So the king agrees to that, but he feels so sorry and so sad. And so while he was in that sad mood, not eating, not going anywhere, the son kind of, just follows the father, and he finds out that this is what it is. So he goes and talks to the father, and the father tells that this is a story. So he said, well, there's nothing, what's the problem with that? I will be, her children can become the kings, and I won't, be in the way. But the question was that, how about, if you get married and you have children? So then he said, okay, I won't get married. And so for a young person of that caliber, it was a very strong promise that he gave, that I will not get married and I'll stay a brahmachari throughout my life. And he did do that. So then they get married, Shantanu and Satyavati, they get married, but then they are not too happy, because after doing something like that, you can never be happy. So then, they have 2 sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, as you all pointed out here. So who were the wives of Chitrangada and Vichitravirya? If nobody's going to answer, I'm going to give it to Kuladeep Prabhu. Okay, go ahead, Kuladeep Prabhu.
Chitrangada never got married because he was killed, but Vichitravirya had 2 wives, Ambika and Ambalika.
Yes, very nice. And they were the princesses from which city or which state? They were daughters of Kashi Maharaj. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Ambika and Ambalika. And Chitrangada and Chitrangada and Vichitravirya left the mortal world childless. Is that true or false? Yes. True? True? Okay. All right, good. True. 500 points for the audience. Who are the children of Ambika and Ambalika? Say that loudly. Ambika gave birth to? Yeah, please use the microphone because the audience. Pandu, correct, right, for 500 points. Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Okay? So, who was the father of Dhritarashtra and Pandu? Shyamlangi says Vedavyas. Do you all agree? Okay. Srila Vedavyas. Okay? So we add the word Srila to his name. Okay, who were the sons of Dhritarashtra and Pandu? That's an easy one, right? Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Mataji at the top wants to give an answer. Give her the microphone, please.
Vyasa.
No, Dhritarashtra's son. Son of Dhritarashtra. He had 100 sons. They have a name. Anybody else would like to help? Call
Vyasa.
Vyasa is the father. Yeah. Son. Archana. And other 98. You bet she knows them. Yeah, she's not telling because of the time limit. And then Pandu had how many? They were Pandu's sons. Were they Pandu's sons? Kanka Mataji is going to tell us. Kanka Mataji, tell us.
Yudhisthira, Bhima,
Arjun?
Arjun, and Sahadevan's Nakula.
Fantastic. Yeah. So these are five sons of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. And we know that they were not fathered by Pandu, right? They were fathered by whom? By whom? Demigods, right? So Yudhishthir? Dharmaraj, right? Or Yamraj, as we know. Okay. Bhim? God of wind, huh? Okay, Vayu. Arjun? Indra. And Nakul and Sahadev? Who was the mother of Nakul and Sahadev?
Madri.
And who was the mother of the first three? Kunti Maharani. Okay, so that was a recap on Mahabharata. Now we'll go to Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so it's Kauravas and Pandavas, you said, and So what's the relationship between Bhishma Dev and Kauravas and the Pandavas? He's their grandfather, right? That's why sometimes he's also known as Bhishma Pitamaha, right? So we're looking at it from the perspective of the Pandavas. It is known as Pandavas. Okay. So you did answer that one, and now comes the next question. What is the relationship between Lord Krishna and the Pandavas? They're cousins, okay? Right, okay. What is Bhishma Deva's relationship with Lord Krishna? Is he a devotee? What was the... Oh, the question was, what's the relationship between Bhishma Dev and Lord Krishna? He's a devotee. Yeah, and chivalry, right? So to understand relationships, right, so we also go and look into what is called as the rasas, or closest translation of the word rasa is mellows, right? In English, there's no exact equivalent of rasa. So, but it is defined as the particular loving mood or attitude relished in the exchange of love with the supreme personality of Godhead, right? That particular loving mood is called rasa or mellow. You can come across that if you want to take darshan. Yeah. Right, so that's what the rasa is, and love with supreme personality of Godhead. So it's very important, the word supreme personality of Godhead, because Srila Prabhupada repeats that word, supreme personality of Godhead, a lot, right? So there's some key words over here. So Godhead is, if you translate and look at the word Godhead, what is translated into Sanskrit is Devta. But Devta can be a very, misleading term, because there are how many Devtas? 33 or 31 crores, right? Like that, yeah. So, but he's the supreme. So among all the devtas, he's the supreme, right? So that we have to remember. And then he's a personality, okay? But most of us, what we do is that we try to just, dabble with the devtas and try to please the devtas, and we'll go there and we'll put, I don't know, when I was growing up, we used to put 1 rupee and 25 cents or 25 paisa there. Right? And try to please the devta. I used to do that, before exams and things like that. So, but you imagine, it adds up. If there are 33 crore devtas and you want to please all of them with 1 rupee, it's 33 crore rupees, It's quite a big amount. You convert that into dollar, it is still a big amount, right? So we have to keep in mind that we are talking about loving exchange. You can have a loving exchange with any of the demigods. That's not a problem. Shantanu had a loving exchange with Ganga, right, in front of us. But here we are talking about, and where we focus on, and of course there is rasa even among the human beings. like, the mortal human beings. I'm not talking, so rasa can be between any two who are having an exchange, loving exchange, right? There can be rasa between, there is rasa, or supposed to be, rasa between husband and wife, right? So what are, they can fight, they can love, they can laugh together, they can be afraid, it's like that. So you can have those rasas there as well. So rasas is usually meant to be had between the same species. So there will be rasas between, human beings. That can be rasas between two parrots like that, but there won't be a rasa between a human being and a parrot, So there are there's a conflict out there. So primary rasas are 5. As we see, Srila Prabhupada talks about the rasas right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's talking about this is actually, he's explaining rasa in a very different context. When we understand rasa as rasa between two human beings, here he's talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, the Grantha, where it says that it is, a ripened fruit, and you can taste and enjoy the ripened fruit. You can enjoy that rasa of ripened fruit. And of course, we might just say that, okay, how can I have a rasa with a book? It is because the book is nothing but the Granth Avatar of Krishna. So when you're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, you're actually enjoying and getting the taste of it because it is Krishna. So we all know, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but we know the rasas are, Shanta rasa, there's Dasya rasa, there's Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya, Shringar rasa. And this is actually a gradation from one rasa, you gradate to the other higher rasa, right? And the soul is actually wired and manufactured by Krishna when he manufactured it to have a certain kind of a rasa relationship with Krishna, right? So somebody will always like to be a Sakhya and, wouldn't want to be anything else. Somebody is just happy with Dasya. And so although there is a gradation, there is Shanta at the bottom and Shringar rasa at the top, but the beauty of it all is that no matter which rasa relationship you have with Krishna, you think that that is the best. Right? For example, even in our lives, we might have a relationship with somebody as a friend. A girl might look at a boy as a friend, and you go and ask her, like, would you like to get married to him? She'll be like, no, because that rasa is not there, right? So you can only see that person as a friend, right? So that's the beauty. Now, here it doesn't happen. Like if you look at 5 cars, models of 5 cars, right? So you have Toyota, and on top of that, you have Tesla. On top of that, you have, Poison Ivy, or whatever the cars are. So like if you have one, it's not that you're satisfied with that. You want the next one, right? But with the rasas, it is like because you are working on your natural condition, whatever you're wired to be, so you'll be happy over there. Although these rasas are there, the lower rasa is present in a higher rasa normally. Like if you are a parent, you could be a friend to your child, right? Like that, right? If you're a parent, these days, definitely you're a das to your child. You have to get up and, do so many things to the kids, right? But it doesn't happen the other way around, okay? If you're a parent, you will not do Shringar rasa with your child, right? So that's a thing to keep in mind there. But the rasas. Then there are the secondary rasas also. Radra anger, Adbhut is wonder, Hasya ras comedy, right? Veer ras chivalry, Daya is mercy, Bhayanak is horror, and then Bibhas is shock, when you have shock, right? And as Ramananda Sakha Prabhu pointed out, that Bhishma Pitamaha's or Bhishma Dev's relationship with Krishna is of Veer ras, of chivalry, right? That's the mood that the two enjoy with each other. Right? So why Bhishma Dev fought against the Pandavas, right? So we know that going back again to the Mahabharata, where when the Mahabharata starts, so the people were taking sides, right? Duryodhana was a very good politician. He had good relationship with the kings. He was going to the kings. He was telling, okay, be on my side. Pandavas were doing the same. And then, of course, before the yudh or the war started, there were some, manipulations also done and all that. But that's history there. But one of the things that was there was that Krishna had a good army. And what was the name of Krishna's army? Narayani Sena, yeah, thank you. Right, so Narayani Sena was there, and so it was like, who should take that? Should the Kauravas take that, or should the Pandavas take that, right? So both of them kind of, go there, and Duryodhana goes first, and Krishna was sleeping at that time, so he's going and goes and stands on the head of the bed, right next to Krishna. And then later on, Arjuna comes, and then Arjuna is there at the feet, stands at the feet because he's a devotee of Krishna, so he will never go and stand on the head. So he goes there and he's standing, and then Krishna wakes up. And then he first sees Arjuna, and then, he comes to know that there's Duryodhana there. And so then there is a contention, like who should he, both have come to ask something and who should he answer and give the first choice. But then, Duryodhana says, I came first. So Krishna says, okay, you answer, or, ultimately the decision was that Arjuna will just take Krishna and Duryodhana will take the entire Narayan army. So both of them are very happy and then they go like that, right? And so then the war starts, and we know the whole story. There's Bhagavad Gita spoken during the war. Arjun, first and foremost, Arjun saw all those. Visvayam Swajanam Krishnam. He says, I see all my relatives, how can I kill them? And then Krishna gives him a nice dose of 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita till he goes and says, Karishyami tava vacha, I'm going to do whatever you're going to tell me to do, right? So as the war is going on, there is this little thing at the back of Duryodhana's head, and he says that he knows that Bhishma Pitamaha loves the Pandavas. So he has this thing that he's not giving it his full punch to the war. He doesn't want to kill them like that. And that's why in the beginning, he had actually, a lot of people, really loved the Pandava, like Dronacharya. So he had that doubt about Dronacharya also, which he said right at the beginning of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, he says that. So one day he gets very angry at his grandfather, and he says that, you're not doing justice. You are not killing them. Why don't you kill Arjuna? You are more powerful than Arjuna. Why are you not doing that? So then he says that, okay, I promise you that I will kill all the 5 Pandavas tomorrow. So he takes 5 arrows. He puts a special mantra on those 5 arrows, and he says, with these 5 arrows, I'm going to kill each one of them. And so Duryodhana is very happy. And then he says, okay, give me the arrows. So Duryodhana takes the arrows, and then he goes and he wants to keep it inside his camp. And then guess what? Krishna sees that. He's going into his camp and he's carrying 5 arrows. So Krishna puts 2 and 2 together. He's very smart. And so he says, I don't know what's going on, but something fishy is going on there. He's coming out of, Bhishma's camp with the arrows. He's going down 5 in number. So he, there's too much of a match going on there. So, so then he goes to Arjuna's camp, and then he says, Arjuna, Duryodhana has got some 5 arrows, and so just ask him for those and bring the arrows here. So Arjuna says, okay, I'll do that, Madhav. And so he goes there. So in those days when the war was happening, it was such an interesting war that you would fight a war, because the Kshatriyas look at a war not only as a war, but for them it's also a sport. And they play it with a complete sportsmanship, till it got messed up in Mahabharata later. But so he goes, Arjuna. So in the night, they would also wine and dine with each other. And then in the morning, they would fight again. So Arjuna goes to Duryodhana's camp, and then, Duryodhana welcomes him, and Arjuna says that, I want something from you. So he says, okay, what do you want? So then he says that, a long time ago, I had saved you from some Gandharvas. And so in return for that, you had said that, ask me whatever you want. And I said, I'll ask you later. Now, history tells you that all these boons which have been deferred for a later date, they always cause you trouble, right? KK, for example. So now was the time. So Arjuna comes and says, give me those 5 arrows. So Duryodhana gives him those 5 arrows. So Duryodhana has got some good streaks as well. He's not all that black as we paint him. So he gives him, because it was a promise. So like I was saying, that it's a promise that we keep, right? So promises have to be kept. Ganga, went back according to her promise. Duryodhana gave the arrows because he had promised. And so next day when Bhishma Pitamaha gets up, so he goes to Duryodhana's camp or tent and says, okay, give me the arrows. Today is the day. I'm going to kill them. And Duryodhana says, oh, but Arjuna took it. And then Bhishma Pitamaha is thinking that, oh, why? How did he know about it? Because that was a conversation that the two had in the privacy of the camp. How did he know about it? But then he knows that, okay, Krishna must have done that. And then he's smiling inside that, oh, Krishna took those away. And so for him, it's his relationship with Krishna, the rasa with Krishna is such that when he sees something like that happening, he's not angry, he's happy. Because as some of you pointed out that, inside he's a devotee of Krishna. And so he says, okay, you know what? He made me break my promise because I had promised you that I'm going to kill the 5 Pandavas. So I am going to see that Krishna should also break his promise. So now the question was, what was Krishna's promise? What had Krishna promised in the war? That he will not fight, right? He had said he will not pick up any weapon. Okay, so that's when he becomes the sarathi of Arjuna, right? The chariot driver. So he's driving the chariot, and so in the war, you have to imagine, and the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita actually gives you a little idea of what it is to inside a war, right? In the beginning, you hear that they started sounding their conch shells. I mean, we sound a conch shell here in the temple. This is Kali Yuga. Sometimes it'll bellow. Sometimes it won't. I have never tried a conch shell. I can't. And but there they were saying that when they blew the conch shells, Nabhascha Prithvim Cheva, right? It went all the way to the skies and to the Prithvi. So they were tumultuous sound, right? Tumlo Bhavat, tumultuous sound was there. And so there is that. So people are, in the beginning they do the shankhas, conch shells, and after that there are all kinds of instruments, right? Dundubi, drums, because they want to bring in the veeras in everybody. They want to make them want to fight, right? There are bugles that are blowing. There are horses that will be neighing. There will be elephants that will be trumpeting, right? And people will be, again, when they're fighting, they'll be making sound from their own mouth. They'll be falling. The chariots are running. The horses are running. So there's a whole lot of noise that is there that you cannot be heard above all this noise. So when a person has to tell his sarathi or his chariot driver that you take the chariot to the left or take the chariot to the right, he cannot say, hey Krishna, can you please move it to the right? Can you please move it to the left? He can't do that. What he has to do, he has to kick with his leg, because the sarathi will be below, a little below on the chariot, and you're on the top of parage. So kicking on this side of shoulder, he goes, yeah, you kick him there. So there is this kick language that goes on between, the two of them. So you can imagine the munificence of Krishna and also the renunciation of Krishna, that he has all the 6 opulences, all the other 5 opulences. And so he's the greatest of the greatest, he's the wealthiest, he's the famous, he's the strongest, he's the creator of everything. And yet he agrees to be kicked by Arjuna there in the war. He doesn't mind it. Why? Because Arjuna is his devotee. And that's the beauty of devotional service, that devotional service conquers. Devotional service is the only means by which you conquer Krishna. And that's why it is Sudurlabha. Krishna doesn't give pure devotional service easily to people, because then he'll have to be servant of so many of them. So anyway, so it's in this war, all this is going on, and so Krishna, with all these chariots, running, just imagine, this is month of March in India, and so there's a lot of dust also that is flowing. So the dust comes on you, and the war is fought, sunrise to sunset. So there's heat there, and so there is sweating. So sweating and dust, it goes into the hair, it goes into your clothes, you're sweating, all that is there, both for Krishna as well as for Arjuna. And in the middle of all this, Bhishma is full of anger, Raudra Ras is there. He's full of anger because, he said, I'm going to make him break his promise of not fighting. So he, fights so valiantly that Arjuna is about to be killed. He's just about to be killed. And then Krishna can't bear to see that, right? He can't bear to see Krishna, Kaunteya prati janehi, name bhaktya pranashyati, literally. So he says that, so Krishna then, doesn't know what to do. He jumps from the chariot. And, he's so angry that he could have just brought in the Sudarshan Chakra. Shishupal, that's how he killed him, right? He could have brought the Sudarshan Chakra, but he doesn't do that. He's looking here and there for something. And there is a Rath, chariot that has fallen because somebody was killed. So he takes the wheel from that and he runs after Bhishma Dev to kill him. And then he has a cloth on top of it. The cloth also falls. He's running towards Bhishma, and Arjuna is after him. Arjuna takes hold of his legs, catches his legs, and he's pulling him back. And Krishna is going forward, and with such a force that with his leg, the foot was touching the ground, and it made a trench in the ground, and then Krishna was caught inside the trench. So that's how his name was caught. But then Bhishma, who's enjoying all that, he's looking at Krishna full of sweat, his hair entangled and matted and dust all over his face, And he finds him so beautiful. Why? Because of the rasa. Right? And we were like, if our husbands come like that, we're like, go take a shower first. You know? Because rasa is different, right? So he comes there and he's looking good. And then Bhishma laughs and he says that, hey, I made you break your promise. But then, of course, it was not, he didn't break his promise because he had not picked up a weapon. He just picked up the wheel. So it was, win-win for both the parties there. And then, of course, Arjuna puts Bhishma on the bed of arrows, right? So the question then that is asked is that we hear so many good things about Bhishma, of course, starting with the extreme vow that he put of celibacy, and then throughout he was on the right side. He was tied to Hastinapur, politically. He always thought the best of Hastinapur. And but why did he fight against such a good person, such a good devotee of Krishna? Why would he fight against Krishna? Why did he not just take the part? I mean, others we can understand. Duryodhan we can understand. He was on the Kaurava's payroll, right? You need to get the money. So you better, behave before the boss and better, tell the boss that he's right. So others were doing that, but Bhishma didn't have to do that, really, right? So the question asked is, why did Bhishma fight against that, right? So here, I'd like somebody to read it. And is it visible? Easy, maybe somebody clearly? Okay, somebody would like to take a microphone and read? You want to read? You want to read it? Okay, yes, Prabhu, what's your name? Balram, okay, good.
The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhishma Dev was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthir on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhishma could not win the battle of Kurukshetra, because the Lord wants to show that vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless of who tries to execute it. Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by will of the Lord because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side.
There you go, right? So we might just be bewildered as to why these things happen in these scriptures. And, on the surface, we might just think, oh, that's wrong. And why is Balram, for example, not you, always opposing Krishna? He always seems to say everything against Krishna. What is going on? So that's why we need to dip deeper into the Shastras. And that's why we need the help of a spiritual master to understand the nuances of what's going on. And our acharyas give such wonderful tippani on that, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam, in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.38, which is, departure of Bhishma Dev from this mortal world. So Prabhupada says the astounding feature of such dealings, the rasa between Krishna and Bhishma is that a devotee can please the Lord by playing the part of an enemy. Right? Whenever he wishes to fight, then, other two people who came to, there were two very famous people who also took that part. Who were there? Jay and Vijay, and they were christened as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Who was the older, Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha? Hiranyakashipu came first or Hiranyaksha came first? Hiranyaksha came first, right? Yeah, it's an interesting thing that when twins are born and when twins are conceived, and the order in which they come out there is a slightly, mismatch there. Because they are one after the other in the womb. So the first who comes out, we think that he's the older one, which was Hiranyaksh, but he entered the womb later. So there's a little calendar calculation that goes on there. But anyway, so that is the main and astounding feature is that, a devotee can please the Lord by playing the part of an enemy. So and then, of course, I've been emphasizing that this whole evening, that promises have to be kept. Krishna's promises was also good. And then not only in the war, in that episode, Krishna kept and allowed. He took the chariot. He broke his own promise. This is the beauty of Krishna, that Krishna broke his own promise so that Bhishma's promise could be kept, because he had said, I'm going to, right? So he went there and he said, he's made me broke my promise by stealing away or getting the arrows removed. So I'm also going to make him broke my promise. So, okay, I'm promising that. So, okay, you keep your promise. So that's why, again, Kanteya prati janehi name bhaktya pranashyati, right? Because whatever his devotee says, Krishna will make sure that that happens. Like that. So again, there is a mention there in 1937, and this is when Bhishma is about to leave his body and go back. So he says some very beautiful prayers, which are in the 9 chapters. He says, Swanigamam apahaya mat pratijnam ritam adhikartum avapluto rathastaha dhita ratha charano bhyayach chaladgur harir iva hantum ibham gato trayaha. Fulfilling my vow and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up his wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. So you see, the Veeras, again, he's singing lions and things like that. So that's the mood in which, Bhishma operates. So this is that nice, loving relationship, in the mood of valor or Veeras between the two of them. And we see a lot of that in the episodes that we discussed. So the same Krishna had told Bhishma Dev or Bhishma that if one performs austerities on the last 5 days of the month of Kartik, right, then one gets the same benefit as for the whole month. Right? So if you haven't done much, if you think you haven't done much, then starting Tuesday till Friday is your opportunity, right? So they talk about the month of Kartik, and Vaisheshika Prabhu say that a lot, is that it's as if we have a sale. Buy one, get one free. Like buy one, get 100 free, right? You've not been chanting a chapter of Bhagavad Gita the entire year. Okay, if you do it in Kartik, Lord is happy, right? And you get the same credits. But this is like the super sale. Where it's buy one, get 3 free, like that. So the last 5 days are very, very important and very, very potent. So Lord Krishna had also given instructions to Brahma. So he had instructed Bhishma that, you do some austerity. So the key word here is austerity. It's very, very important for progress in devotional service. And so he had given the same instruction to Brahma also. So this is about the time when Brahma was born in this universe. And there's nothing in this universe, and he's just come into this material world, and he's completely perplexed because there's darkness, he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know what to do. And so he, goes down the lotus stem. He was on the top of the lotus stem, the structure of the universe. He goes all the way down, he comes back up, doesn't find anything. And then the instructions come to Brahma, and they are listed in the 2nd canto, 9th chapter. Sachintya div aksharam ekadambhasya usha shrinodvirgatidam vacho vibhuhu spareshvayat shodasam ekavimsam nishkinchananam nripayat dhanam viduhu. So he's just thinking, Brahma is just thinking, what do I do? So while thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby 2 syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsh alphabets, and both joined together became the wealth of the renounced order of life. Right? So it's a beauty, and it's like telling you answer, but in a puzzle or a riddle, in the form of a riddle, right? So I have highlighted Shodasam and Ekavimsham. Shodasham, 6, Dasham, 10. So 6 plus 10 is 16. So they're talking about the 16th. And Ekavimsham. Vimsham is 20. And Eka is 1. So 20 plus 1 is 21. So they're talking about 16th and the 21st letter in the Sanskrit alphabet. Now the Sanskrit alphabet, the letters are based and grouped together according to the way you pronounce them. And so Sparsha alphabets, the Sparsha line in the Sanskrit alphabet will have letters which when you are pronouncing, your tongue will touch some part or your lips will touch, right? So the one of the Sparsha line is the Tavarg, where ta, tha, da, dha, na. You say ta, ta, try that, ta, ta, right? So that's it, your tongue is touching. What is your tongue touching? The teeth, right? Right. And then the other one is pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. The lips are touching, right? So those were the ta and pla, pa becomes the pa. So God will not, Krishna will never say things straight, huh? Tapa. But then tapa means austerity. So he understands that this is austerity and I should do that, right? Goddess of learning Saraswati also says that later, and we have read that in Bhagavatam. Tapastam tava etena tava siddhir bhavishyati. So he is trying to create this universe, and then she's saying, just do some austerity. And then siddhir, whatever you want to do, will happen. So tapaha, again, is austerity. She's talking about a spiritual austerity. And the purport for this, and Brahma Samhita, the language is difficult. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote that, amazing English 500 years ago. And he also gave very lengthy purports, right? Very descriptive. It's very difficult to understand those purports also. It's heavy. Brahma Samhita is heavy. And the purport for this is the shortest purport in Brahma Samhita. Anybody remember what does it say? Yeah, Kathika Mahaprabhu says, and correctly so, in just one line, it says, the purport is clear. You get it? You want to do anything? Austerity is involved, right? Austerity is involved in every part of our life. You want to succeed in anything, austerity is involved, right? So also, another verse from Bhagavatam where Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are talking to each other. And Sukdev Goswami, he talks about them, tapasa brahmacharyena, samena cha damena cha. So he's talking about all the things that you have to do. Tyag, satya, you have to be truthful, you have to be, balanced in your mind, like that, control, and those things. So tapaha. So I'm just trying to emphasize here that the word tapaha comes so often, in our scriptures. And so tapasa, in this verse, tapasa, Srila Prabhupada translates the word tapasa as, through tapasa, by austerity or voluntary rejection of material enjoyment. So that is tapasa. So you have to keep that in mind, that it is voluntary. It is a voluntary thing that you do. And what are you doing? What are you rejecting? Material enjoyment, right? Okay. So what is austerity? If you look at the word austerity, right? We use the word austerity and we use many words together synonymously like that. But so let's look at what is austerity. So if you look at the meaning, it says sternness or severity of manner or of attitude. So there will be some severity involved. If you're saying, I am doing austerity, then there has to be some severity involved there, right? Bhishma, do you think he was austere? Yes, right? Okay, and then there are other similar words that people use, sternness, austereness, lack of attachment, so on and so forth. The whole list is there. Stiffness, darkness, people just, talk all those words synonym as austerity there. Then let's look at austerity and penance, right? So the word austerity and penance, people also use them synonymously, but there are differences, right? Both are voluntary. Austerity basically is, we said, voluntary rejection of material enjoyment. Penance is voluntary self-punishment. Okay? This is a punishment we are voluntarily inflicting on ourselves, right? Sometimes, we get punished, but it's not that we really are happy doing that punishment or accepting that punishment. I mean, Maya gives us punishment left, right, and center, 6 times a day. Right? So penance in Sanskrit translates to prayaschittam or prayaschit. Right? So the difference between prayaschit means you did something wrong, you realize you have done something wrong, and now you're going to take some punishment, something, painful for yourself so that you will not repeat it again. Right? So that is penance. And austerity is your voluntary rejection of material enjoyment. And the true austerity is when you voluntarily reject your material enjoyment for Krishna, for progress in devotional service. Otherwise, austerity is there. Students have austerity. The players do a lot of austerity, right? Singers will do, actors will do, like that, right? But basically, we are talking about that. So austerity, like how often should we perform austerity? The sad news is 365 days of the year. We should be doing that, especially as devotees. So then we can do, there are levels of austerity. You can do daily austerity. Can you give me some examples of daily austerity, both mundane and spiritual? Waking up early is an austerity. Chanting is an austerity. Reading Bhagavad Gita is an austerity, right? You can also do fortnightly austerities. What are some austerities that we do fortnightly? Ekadashi, right? You're devotees. Then you can do them monthly on a calendar. You can do this month, it is Magh, I will do this. It is that month, I will do this. Something like that you can do. You can do austerity. Well, you don't do any of this. At least on major festivals, in Janmashtami, you can do some austerity like that. Chaturmasya, then it becomes a little bit big. There are 4 months in which people do austerity, right? And then the last month of Chaturmasya is Kartik, so at least, we can do some there. And then the last but not the least is the Bhishma-panchaka, the 5 days of the... So then when we talk about austerity, austerities can be gross austerity, like fasting. I'm not going to do any sense gratification. I'm going to stay away from gulab jamun. I'm going to stay away from, ice creams, or, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? And guess what happens on Rasa Purnima? Yeah, you have a bucket of gulab jamuns. Right, like, because the senses come back with, increased vigor and say, hey, you know what, you missed out on all the enjoyment. Let's go for it, like that. So there's austerity at the gross level. And so let's look at the austerities that are, recommended from the Shastras and on Bhishma-panchaka. So there's a type 1 austerity, and so 5 days. So what do you do on those 5 days? First day you have cow dung, or stuff made from cow. Second day, cow urine. Third day, cow milk. Fourth day, cow yogurt. Fifth day, all products of the cow and mixed panchagavya. Anybody up for it? I'm sure we have a few. Nobody? Okay. I'm glad I don't feel that bad. Are you noting all that down, Katha Karma? For Tuesday, he already does that, I know. Right? So that's a type 1. If you can't follow type 1, so this is almost like how Krishna says in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Mayeva mana adasva, right? So you put your mind on me, and then he says, okay, if you cannot do that, okay, then you do some deity worship. Okay, you can't do some deity worship, go and wash the dishes. If you can't go and wash the dishes, okay, take out your wallet and put some money in that hundi. Like that, So he's saying, okay, levels, high level, low level. So similarly here also there's a low level. So if you can't follow type 1, everything cow product, then you can go and take fruits and roots. And then there are rules and regulations. Fruits with lots of seeds should be avoided, like guava, my favorite, pomegranate, my favorite, cucumber, I didn't know it was a fruit, but anyway. Boiled potatoes, raw banana and sweet potato. Use sea salt for taste if you want. Cashew nuts, plain, no, no spices and flavored. Raisins, dates, milk products to be avoided, right? And then if you can't do type 2, then there is type 3. And in this type 3, they are saying that you have havishya, which is like a khichdi. And then there's this whole thing about what can go into the khichdi, right? So, well, yeah. So we have to remember this, that austerity, if you're overwhelmed by those 3 slides, there's relief coming in this one. And that is that, austerity is not meant to torment the body, but it is meant to transcend the body. Because you are not the body, you are the soul. And we think under false ego that I am the body, right? So I should do this, I should do that, I should give this up, I should give that up. And then on Rasa Purnima, I'm going to, let loose, like that. But there is the austerity on the subtle side as well. Like if I do the austerity of Panchagavya, that 5 days only cow products I eat, then there could be, a little thought that gets planted in my head, like, I'm better than this one, better than that one, better than that one, and I'll go around like, Prabhuji, did you do this? Oh, you didn't? Oh, I did it. So that is the subtle part that comes, and we have to control that as well. So austerity of the subtle is more difficult than austerity of the gross, right? So attachments can still remain with us. I have opinions, and sometimes we see that in offices, like, oh, that person, he's so opinionated, would not listen to anybody. Something has to be done this way. That's it. Won't even listen to counsel like that, right? We could be attached to our fame, right? We could be our renunciation. Who was attached to his renunciation and Krishna put him right? Sudama. There you go, right? So you can get attached to those things as well, and those have to be taken care of as well, right? So again, austerity is meant to focus our desires. It's not saying don't desire, because you cannot live in a desireless state. We will desire. We are jiva souls, we will desire, right? Krishna also desires. We are part and parcel of Krishna. But not to kill the desire. Okay? So if we keep promises, now this is a vrata, right? In the Bhishma-panchaka, you'll keep a promise that I'm going to do this for 5 days. It's a vrata. If you cannot take that vrata, cannot keep that vrata, then stay away from it and do that, right? So we talked about austerities of the subtle. We said that attachments can remain. And if we are saying that we should be focusing, you should be focusing on desires. Can we go back and visit all these three and see how we can refocus these? Our opinions, I'm saying you still stay attached. You still stay attached to opinions. But you stay attached to whose opinions? Krishna's opinions, right? So whatever Krishna says, in so many times in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying, Te me mata. This is my mata. This is my opinion, right? But Krishna has given us this choice, right? In the end of chapter 18, he says that I have told you everything, and now you do what you want to do. So, right? So we will be attached to Krishna's opinions. We will do what Krishna says, no matter what anybody else tells us. We are stuck there, right? Instead of being attached to our fame, we should be attached to Krishna's fame. And that means basically we should want to spread Krishna's fame. And how do you spread Krishna's fame? By talking about Krishna, by distributing Krishna's books, right? By having a beautiful temple so that people can see the glories. And then refocus not on our renunciation, how good we are, how renounced we are. We focus on Krishna's renunciation, like we saw how Krishna renounced his promise to keep the promise of Bhishma. That, right? So modes of austerity. Right? So we're saying, okay, we're going to do some austerity, there'll be modes, because we are in the mode of material nature all the time. We are in this material world. So Shamo, Damas, Tapa, Shaucham. Again, in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is listing out all these things, and he lists peacefulness, self-control, austerity. So he's talking about austerity again here, right? And how to find fulfillment through austerity and sacrifice. There's a very nice article that Vaisheshika Prabhu wrote, right? There, and I just copied that article here so that we could read it together. So he's explaining sacrifice. So sacrifice that we do, because people also use the term sacrifice and austerity to be the same, right? Sacrifice includes austerity. When you're sacrificing something, austerity will be involved in it. Okay? So sacrifice comes from the word sacred. And in one of the ancient wisdom literature, there's a mention about how nobody can live peacefully without some kind of sacrifice, some austerity in their life. So austerity is a must. That's what it said, right? The term austerity conjures images of stern monks, impossible disciplines, and self-denial. However, austerity is not about severe asceticisms, but about doing something that leads to spiritual fulfillment, right? So I was talking about austerity, and you did answer that, just doing austerity. Ravana also did a lot of austerity, right? Was it for a good cause? No, right? So people can do austerities, but only the austerity we are focusing on is when you do austerities so that you get some spiritual advancement there. So then he talks about a very nice, interesting situation there, and it's scrolling off, but I'll just tell you a little in gist on that. That in one of the state's prison in Brazil, what they did was that the inmates, they gave a cycle to the inmates, and if you pedaled on that cycle, it would generate some electricity, and that electricity was used to feed the city, right? And the more amount of electricity that you generated, your sentence was reduced proportionately by that, So it was a big hit program over there. And so it was an austerity for them to do the cycling, because you have to do a lot of cycling to generate electricity. And the more you want, the more austere you will be. So that's what we are saying here also. He's saying that in your spiritual life also, you'll have to do more and more and more of the austerity there. So I'm just going to say the gist here, the third paragraph. Much like the prisoners in that city, in Rio, we can connect to something larger than ourselves, earn a self of fulfillment, and experience a peaceful feeling from small daily service to others through acts of sacrifice. So the key word I want to emphasize here is small, right? This is Kali Yuga, right? If you're going to tell me have Panchagavya every day, I'll tell you Panchagavya is not served in my office. I have lunch at my office, right? So I can't carry it, I can't do this, I can't do that. So we are in Kali Yuga, These kind of austerities are possible, but are not impossible, but they're not easy, right? So we should focus on something which is more doable. And here Vaishaka Prabhu is saying, small things. Start with small things and then go it bigger so that it doesn't become an overwhelming thing for all of us, right? So concept of sacrifice has been there from the beginning of creation. From which chapter of Bhagavad Gita says that? Sacrifice. In the beginning. Which one? Bhagavad Gita. There you go, Vijay Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, yeah. Saha yagya prajashtva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavishvadhvam esha vosta ishtakamadhuk. Somebody wants to read the translation for me? Who's got the mic? Okay. Shamlangi is going to do us the honors.
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation.
Thank you. Right? So in the beginning itself, Krishna said all that, and the prescription was that how to do the sacrifices is from the Vedas, right? So that's right. You follow this. If you want to enjoy it, just do it within the injunctions, and then you will be able to come back. But that's not what we did, right? So modes of sacrifice. So then the sacrifice that we do are again in the modes, different modes of material nature. So he says in the 17th chapter, we can all sing. I think it's familiar to all of you. Alpa kankshi bhiryagyo vidhi. Together. Vidhi dishto ya ijyate yashtavyam deveti manaha samadhaya cha satvikaha. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. This sacrifice, which will involve austerity, is in the mode of goodness. Abhisandhaya tu phalam dambhartham api chaivayat ijyate bharata shrestha tam yagyam vidhirajasam. But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of the Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Okay? So, what sacrifice do you think somebody can perform in the mode of passion? Give me an example. Can we do some sacrifice in the mode of passion? For some material benefit? Can we do? No? You don't do? Go ahead.
When we have to work overnight.
You work overnight, yes. Yeah, you work really hard late. I want that promotion. You're doing sacrifice, right? But it's for a particular gain which is directed towards me. Vidhihinam ashishtanam mantrahinam adakshinam Shraddha viharitam yagyam Shraddha tamasam parichakshate. Right. Okay, now it's on its journey. It reminds me of the Jiva soul getting kicked from one planetary system to another planetary system. Right. Okay, and there you go. That's the chakra, the circle. That was a nice distraction and to the point, right? In the mode of ignorance, we move, right? So, vidhihinam ashishtanam mantrahinam. It's my favorite verse because I did not know that a sacrifice performed without giving remunerations to the priest is considered to be in the mode of ignorance and is incomplete, actually. So, when I was initiated here 14 years ago at ISKCON of Silicon Valley, I did not know that. We were among the early people, Ramananda being the first. And then the next year I was there. And I didn't know, so I was there. Thank you. Went home. And then when I registered in the Bhakti Shastri course, I read this and I realized, oops, I didn't give any remuneration. So I ran to Shivas Pandit Prabhu and I said, Prabhu, you are the priest there, so this is the remuneration for you. And then, of course, he put it in the hundi there. But Yeah. So you can have sacrifice in the mode of ignorance also. Then, there is austerity. So we talked about austerity of the body, right? Not eating this, not eating that, right? So he says, Deva, come on. Deva dvija guru pragya pujam shaucham arvajam brahmacharyam ahimsa cha shariram tapa uchyate. So austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, getting up in the morning, taking a shower, walking, clean clothes, not eating, all that is big austerity. The Brahmanas, the spiritual master, the superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Right? Anudvega karma vakyam satyam priya hitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. Austerity of speech, that's very important because vacho vegam, we are hit by that. Sudden urge to speak is there. Very difficult to control. So austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others. And in also regularly reciting Vedic literature. So that's what we are doing right now. We are reciting verses from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavatam. So that's also an austerity for us. And Krishna always says that you always start with your tongue. Sevan mukho hi jiva dao. You have to serve Krishna first from your tongue. One is to control the tongue and not eat, all kinds of nonsense. And the second one is to use the tongue and wag the tongue in the praise of the Lord, right? Then austerity of the mind. What are the austerities of the mind? Mana prasada shaumyatvam monam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhir ittetat tapomana samuchyate. Somebody read it for me, please. Who has got the mic?
Unsatisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
So how much of the austerity of mind did Duryodhan have? How satisfied was he? Right? He said, I will not give you kingdom even the size of the tip of a needle. Right? He was not even satisfied by all that he had. Right? And the interesting thing was that in the conversation between the Kauravas, and Duryodhana is having the conversation with his uncle, and they're just saying when the Pandavas get Hastinapur, Indraprastha, it was an uninhabitable land, they gave them that, but the Pandavas converted it into beautiful Indraprastha. And Duryodhana is upset on that. And he's saying, but it was a part of Hastinapur, you took it. So they look at it in that way, that the Pandavas took away our kingdoms, whereas it rightly belonged to the Pandavas. So, satisfaction, very important. Okay? Shraddhaya paryataptam tapastat vidham nare alpahankankshibhir yukter satvikam parichaksate. So austerity in goodness is, it is performed, number one, in transcendental faith, right? So the transcendental element is coming in by men not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of Supreme. Only for the sake of Krishna, I am doing it. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi, yat tapasvasi konteya, right? So whatever austerity that you're doing, perform it for me. Like that, right? Satkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tat ahyapoktam rajasam chalam adhruvam. Penance pronounced out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Remember, it's neither stable nor permanent. And what is the verse in Bhagavad Gita that tells you that devotional service is permanent? Neha bhikramanashusti pratyavayo na vidyate suvalpam masya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayas. He said, even if you do a little bit of devotional service, it gets carried over to the next life. Right? Okay. Mudha grane tatmano yat pidaya kriyate tapaha parasyo sadhanartham va tattamasam udharitam. So penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So I remember when we were growing up, I had a friend and she wanted to marry somebody and that person was not reciprocating. So she would take her bangle and then cut the bangle and take the broken piece and then she would start, doing like this. And she got a pleasure out of that. I used to be horrified seeing so many scratches on her hands. Till her mom once came and said, like, do you think the person whom you are loving, the person to whom you are doing all this is worthy of all that? And that is something that strikes me now, that everything that we are doing for ourselves, for our families, and ignoring Krishna, is it really worthy of all that? Right? So things that are done for Krishna, those are the only worthy activities that we do in this life. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanebhyopi matoditkaha karmebhyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. So here's the reassurance for all of us. And that he's saying that after having talked about austerity, goodness, passion, this, that, and that, Krishna is saying a yogi is greater than the ascetic. A yogi is one who connects with Krishna, karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi, bhakti yogi, right? So yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, Sankhya yogi, and greater than the fruitive worker, karma yogi. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. So that is what our focus should be, right? Bhaktya yiveshya mano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karma bhi. So what does it say? The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. Okay? So this is so important to know that Krishna is going to keep his promise and he's going to appear in the minds when we are about to leave our body. So in the interest of time, I won't go through all the prayers of Bhishma, but they are in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 9th chapter 32 to 43, right? But I will definitely pick up just a few of the prayers from there. So basically, when he starts, there is Yudhishthira has gone there, Krishna is there, everybody has come in their full regalia, and Bhishma is lying on the bed of arrows, about to leave his body. And even at that stage, he gives instructions to Yudhishthira, who's feeling very bad that the whole Mahabharata war was left so many widows behind, so many orphans and things like that. Right? So he says that, let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Krishna. So this is what our mood should also be, that our thinking, feeling, willing should be invested in Krishna. So he's saying that, right? And unless we don't have that focus, anything can distract you. If you're not focused on Krishna, anything. Somebody will come and ask you, what's going on in the election? Then you can talk about Trump and Kamala for a long time. Somebody comes and talks to you about soccer, you will talk about soccer for a long time. But if you are focused on Krishna, that everything that I do for Krishna, then you will just say, it's my time to read the Bhagavatam, or I'm going to the temple. So it's very, very important to stay focused, otherwise anything will disturb you, anything. Then one key point I wanted to point out is he's saying Sri Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna. Now there was no need for Bhishma Dev to talk like that, right? An intimate friend of Arjuna. But he's doing it on purpose because Arjuna is a devotee of Krishna. And Krishna likes to hear the names of his devotees. So he's saying Krishna, a friend of Arjuna. So I'm just trying to bring out the devotional aspects of, Bhishma there and the beauty. And here, the Virras, Sri Krishna, the flowing hair of the Lord turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses, and because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go into Sri Krishna. That's the relationship from the Krishna's aspect, that, Bhishma is putting arrows and throwing arrows at him, and aiming arrows and shooting arrows at him, and Krishna is enjoying that pain that is there. Then I'm just going to skip over here. So here he is saying in the prayers, the crux here, he says, He, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrow. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, Partha Sarthi, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope on his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Krishna attained their original forms after death. Isn't that amazing? Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajdham, the gopis. The damsels imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the rasa dance. Again, he's bringing in the gopis, which are another set of devotees of Krishna of the most exalted nature, right? At the Rajasuya Yajna, which was performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders, and in that great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remembered the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. So he's thinking all that because death is coming. But by the way, Bhishma Dev had that benediction that he could leave his body whenever he wanted to, right? So with that nice benediction, he's armed with that, so he will leave, but then he's creating that ambience there, right? That he can think about Krishna. Now I can meditate with full Krishna, right? Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Shri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconception of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. So you can just, close your eyes and look into your heart and find Krishna over there. If you don't find him, then he's on the altar. Maybe he ran away from there. Text 43, Sutta Goswami said, thus Bhishma Deva merged himself in the super soul, Lord Shri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions, and thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. So, a couple of things to remember is that because there's a word merged which is used over here, which is a taboo, we don't merge. But what he's merging actually here is he's merging his mind. He's thinking of Krishna. He's merging his speech. He's talking about Krishna. He's merging his sight. He's looking at Krishna, right? So like that is the merging, that he's thinking about Krishna. And then yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajyatyante kalevaram tam tam evati konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. And in the purport of this particular verse, Srila Prabhupada says, the human form of life is specially meant for dying like Bhishma Deva. He's so impressed with this wonderful, wonderful death that he presented before all of us. He's saying like, oh wow, human life is meant for, dying like that. Thinking of Krishna, talking about Krishna, right? Doing things for Krishna, handling it, right? So then my question is, then our question would be like, but that was Bhishma Deva. He was very austere, he was very powerful, he was able to do all that thing. But what do I do? Like, don't put me on this bed of arrows. I can't do that. I can't even sleep on my temper-betting bed, right? Adjusting the sleep numbers and all that. But the good thing here is that Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astihi eko mahan gunahan kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. Somebody wants to read it?
My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we are almost on the top of the order, of the hours. We'll stop here and take some reflections or any questions that you had for the 4 minutes that we have. And our... I have a question. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. There are 2, 3. I have 4 minutes, and if the answer doesn't finish in 4 minutes, then we'll continue our discussion during a prasadam. But yeah.
Mataji, Lord Krishna's body is transcendental. Mm-hmm. There is no veins, there is no blood. Mm-hmm. But in the one of the stanza he said that there is a blood came from Krishna's body when the Bhishma's arrows hit him. That what is our Acharya's explanation for that?
Yeah, so Krishna's body is transcendental. When we go back to Goloka, we'll also have a body which will be transcendental, and it'll have all these things. It'll be like this. That's why Krishna says God made man in his own image, right? So we will have blood there also, but that blood is transcendental blood. That's called Chidrakta. So when Krishna comes here, descend, avatar, basically he just, as he is up there in the Golok Vrindanam, as he is, he comes down. So that blood that is coming out from Krishna's body is not your blood, like my blood or your blood. That is transcendental blood, but it is blood. And
Thank
so
you,
we'll
Mataji.
see that.
Thank you very much.
No problems. Thank you. You had a question?
Yeah, I have Mataji quick 2 comments. One comment is the name Bhishma. So actually the vow Bhishmadev took, it is actually something which has not been experienced in the past or not in the future. Because he remained a Kshatriya, very close to the kingdom, but he never got married and he never aspired to be king. So that's why the demigods also became like stunned, like what vow he is actually taking, because Kshatriyas are driven by mood of passion. We never saw like people can take banprastha and go to the forest and be aloof from this kind of, passionate environment. But Bhishmadev's austerity was to a different level, unprecedented.
Correct.
Second thing is like the departure of Bhishmadev. We see also Haridas Thakur. And Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami also tells that the way Haridas Thakur is passing is the same as Vishwadeva passing in, Mahabharata pastime and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this too came in.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for, and actually it's a very good point that you brought that Kshatriyas, he remained a Kshatriya because how do you take inspiration? Like for the Brahmanas, it's okay if they don't get married because they don't take inspiration from women. But Kshatriyas take that inspiration from women. And so to remain a Kshatriya without having a woman around you, and of course there was that beautiful lady who was coming, Amba, saying, you marry me. So I'm not marrying you. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu, for embellishing. Yeah. There was one more hand I heard. There's 1 minute left. Okay, maybe I just dreamt the hand. Was somebody else asking a question? Okay, no. Vishwapati Prabhu, are you going to tell us who is going to sing and all that? Okay. So what is your instruction for me? Okay. I am done. Yeah, I think the questions, I'm just done here. Just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you for your... This one more. Okay. My clicker died on the last slide, so thank you. He died on the question. He was killed by the question. Okay, so I think we can all just turn our faces towards that in preparation for the Damodar Ashtakam. And then also we can line up. Those of you who want to offer the ghee lamp can go and line up on that side.
Har Grace Shraddha Devi Dasi ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Samveta Bhaktagan ki, Gopremanande. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Ved Vyas Prabhu is going to sing the Damodar Ashtakam. Look at that. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, it is going to stay here. Middle. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I need the front row. I need the front row for the singer. No problem.
You want this remote?
Yeah.
You need the whole front row. Here is okay. I will push you this. Okay, sure. I will use this one. It's okay. Okay, Marshall. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Namam Vishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundala Goku Lebrajamanam Yashoda Biyolokanathavamanam Param Rishtamatyanta Todrutya Gopyam Yashoda Biyoloka Atavamanam Param Ishtamatyanta Todrutya Gopyam Sudamta Muhunetra Yulam Nijantam Karamboja Yugmena Satantanetam Jantam Karamboja Yugmena Satantanetram Mushvasakam Patririkam Damodaram Bhakti Bhadra Niti Vishakila Bhirananda Kunde Shami Jamadantam Matyapayantam Yadiyeshu Yajineshu Tataratatvam Moksham vadimva Nachanya vinesha Vishada piha Moksham Bhakimva Vachanya Vinehama Shadatiha Idam Teva Purnada Gopalabalam Tam Imanasya Virasam Kimanyam Idam Tunu Kamboja Tankanilai Idam Tunkavasniha Rakashta Gopyam Mushum Pitam Bhimbaratadharam Manasavirastam Manapakshavavam Namadevada Modaranam Kavishno Prasida Prabodhuka Navademagnam Vipadrishti Vishtati Dinam Matano Vihanisanajan Vejakshi Drishta Kuveratmaja Bhagha Nityayvayatva Avanujitau Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Cha Katha Prema Bhaktim Svakame Prayascha Namo Shadroho Mesi Namo Kareva Namaste Spudamne Spuradipidamne Hariyakade Vishvasadamne Namaste Spudamne Spuradipidamne Vadiyadayatva Vishvasadamne Namo Radhikaya Bhakya Priyaya Namo Nanta Vilaya Devaya Tudyam Namo Radhikaya Namo Radhikaya Priya Priyaya Namo Nantaviraya Devaya Pujaya Namo Nantaviraya Devaya Namo Nantaviraya Devaya Pujaya Radhikaya Priya Priyaya Namo Nantaviraya Devaya Namo Radhikaya Priya Priyaya Namo Nantaviraya Devaya Pujaya Namo Radhikaya Priya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Devaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jayo Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radhe. Jayo Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radhe. Jayo Radha Shama Sundara, Radha Shama Sundara, Radhe. Jayo Radha Gopinadha, Radha Gopinadha, Radhe. Jayo Radha, Jayo Radha, Jayo Radha, Jayo Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Hiranyakashe Purvashaha. Shilatam Kana Kolaya, Shilatam Kana, Shilatam Kana Kolaya, Shilatam Ikom Risuno Parakom Risuno. Yato Yamita Komisino. Yato Yamita Komisino. Bahini Simorida Nrsimha Hriday Nrsimha Hamadi Charana Prapade Narasimha Madhu Charana Prapade Tavakara Kamala Vare Bhuta Shinga Bhavita Hiranya Kashipu Janagriva Deshavagriva Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Jai Jagadisha Hare Hiranyakashipu Kanabhika Deshavagriva Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Keshavagriva Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Hare Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nishingadev Jaya Nishingadev Jaya Nishingadev Jaya Nishingadev Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Narahari, Jaya Narahari, Jaya Narahari, Jaya Narahari. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nishingadev Bhagavan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Shri Radheshama Sundar ki, Nitai Gaura Sundar ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you everybody for joining us for today's Sunday Feast program. It's the last Sunday Feast program before the Kartik ends. So thank you everybody for joining us. We would like to thank Her Grace Shraddha Mataji for bringing us the Sunday Feast lecture today. Haribol. Then today's Damodar Ashtakam and Narsimha prayers brought to us by His Grace Vedavyas Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, he has his gang. team of devotees accompanying him. Thank you. We would also like to welcome all those who are joining us online, and they are also participating in today's feast virtually. So thanks to them. Haribo. Next, we would like to thank His Grace Charu Nimai Prabhu right in that corner, who is bringing us the world-class broadcast for everyone's benefit. Haribo. Do we have any first-timers today? Anybody visiting us for the first time? Haribol, thank you. Anybody else visiting us for the first time? Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so there were a couple of hand raises. So thank you for joining us for the first time. Let us all chant together one Maha Mantra to bring auspiciousness in their lives and pray that they may continue to visit us again and again. Everybody together. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Next, we would like to go to the sponsorships for today. So we have 4 sponsors. First, we would like to start from a very old sponsorship coming from September. The sponsors were not available at that time, and they are here today. So I would like to invite Suman Mataji, Alexander Prabhu, and their son Keshav, who recently turned 4. Haribol! Hare Krishna. You would like to say something, Mataji or Prabhu? Or maybe Keshav?
Yeah, he will say the mantra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
No.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama. Yeah, Prabhuji, he attended the class here last. Yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone. Yeah, my son attended the last year. The class is here, and now he's attending with the Anand Prema Mataji in the Dublin. And yeah, he is regular devotee, and he is really, really very nice and say the Krishna jap. And he did the Krishna Janmashtami fast as well. And yeah, even we were in a Barclay temple. On that day, they were distributing the pizza outside. Yeah, they were distributing the pizza outside, and then he saw the pizza. No, mama, pizza. No, it's 9 o'clock already. Don't go to the pizza. Then come inside. And then he controlled himself. I really appreciate, and I hope he will be getting a lot of blessing in the Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Haribol.
Thank you. So, Keshav turned 4. The next sponsorship is for somebody who's turning 3. So next sponsorship is coming from Balram Prabhu and his wife. They are seeking blessings for their son Narayan's 3rd birthday. So Balram Prabhu and Mataji, are you here by any chance? Okay, let's thank them in their absentia by loudly giving a round of applause. Haribo. So what comes after 3? I mean before 3. 2. So next sponsorship is coming from our own dear Aditya Prabhu and Kanika Mataji, who are sponsoring for their daughter Ridhika turning 2. Perfect. So do we have Aditya Prabhu here? Okay. Oh, you are her elder sister. Okay. Who will go first? Okay, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Come here, center.
You want to say Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna?
Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you so much for all your love and association to us throughout the year. I mean, bringing up Riddhika was really not easy. It has been really like a terrible tour for us. But I think with the association of all the devotees and mercy of lordships, it has been a smoother journey than expected. Of course, there has always been so much up and downs, but like things have been much better handled and with the association of all the devotees and mercy of lordships. So thank you very much, and please bless her. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So last sponsorship is an anonymous sponsorship. So let's chant one Mahamantra together to request blessings and prayers and to pray to Radha Madan Mohan to bless all these wonderful kids, and also pray for that anonymous donor by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So couple of announcements before we go into prasadam. Announcements. So first announcement is at 7 p.m. Nimai and Nitai will be leading Gopi Gita prayers. So kindly join them. And second announcement, there is a grocery distribution happening at the book table. So because of cleanup at the temple, there was some grocery which came out. If you want to claim anything or take anything with you as much as you want, feel free to do it right now, because after today they will be discarded. Thank you. And now prasadam cooks, the cooks for today will be announced by Arshia.
Hare Krishna. Today's cooks are Sirisha Mataji, Abadhuta Mataji, Manjari Gopika Mataji, Vali Mataji, Tripti Mataji, Rima Mataji, Uttara Mataji, Kanika Mataji, Medhavi Mataji, Ruchi Mataji, Shraddha Mataji, Paris Mataji, Ujjvala Rasa Mataji, Sri Rama Prabhu, Divya Ananda Prabhu, Anil Prabhu, Arun Prabhu's mother, Parth Prabhu, Achita Chaitanya Das Prabhu, Deepak Prabhu, Aditya Prabhu. Thank you.
So now we'll go to the prasadam prayers. Rati Prada Mataji will lead us. Arjun Prabhu will lead us into prasadam prayers.
Sharira Vidya Jorendriya Dayika Jive Fele Vishaya Sadore Dharmadhe Jivayati Lobha Moy Sundurmati Taki Jita Katina Samsare Krishna Badodoyamoy Kori Bhare Jivajay Swaprasadanna Dilobhay Se Annamrita Pao Shri Shri Radha Krishna Guna Gao Medhako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Premedhako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasovanada Jayate Prasade Sarva Dukanam Hanirasho Pajayate Prasanna Chetaso Yashu Buddhi Paryavashishtate Tvayopa Bhukta Shragganda Vasulankara Charchita Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Shuksham Paryushitam Vapi Nitam Bhadradeshataha Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam Natra Kala Vicharana न देशनियमस्तत्र न कालनियमस्ततः प्राप्तं वनं द्रुतं शिष्टे भोक्तव्यं हरिरब्रवीत्। भगवत श्री महाप्रसादम की